In today's video, we're going to be showing how to go and find the Zwift Ramp-up FTP test. And as we currently see on the screen here, I have Zwift loaded and running on my PC. For the purposes here, you would normally have your heart rate and your speed cadence or other sensors, but I don't have any of them hooked up, and for the demonstration for this video, I'm going to just show just to watch. So skip through this. I would normally say, okay, I would normally have all these sensors ready, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show where to go and find this folder. And for those that may not be very familiar with Zwift, there's lots of different workouts that you could go and select. Zwift has a lot of great types of training, whether it be for beginners in terms of going to start up in Zwift or for the really experienced cyclists. Zwift has a lot of different workouts built in for the different variety of cyclists that will appear on its platform. And we may be referencing a few of these workouts throughout the duration of the spring training buildup. And just like with any of the workouts that I upload here, you are more than free to use a workout that you feel is of your choosing. So going back to me, now that Zwift is on here, I'm going to go into the menu button on the lower left-hand side of the screen and to go into your workouts folder. And I have the custom workouts ribbon currently down selected. I'm going to unselect that. The workout is located in FTP tests. So click here, and there's two types of ramp tests. There is a traditional ramp test, which is for more experienced and for larger riders. And the idea behind the ramp test is that it's supposed to estimate where your FTP test or where your FTP is. And it's not going to be a perfect measure by any stretch, but it's just more or less to give you an indication as to where you are from the level of fitness. And the objective here is to essentially gauge on where your overall power for 60 minutes is. And for those that are not familiar with FTP, FTP is functional threshold power, which is basically what is theoretically the amount of power that the maximum amount of power that you could sustain for a minute. For the purpose of this ramp test, there's two types. There's a ramp test light and there's a ramp test. Choose the one ramp test that suits you the most and that you feel will be best representative of your abilities. For most guys, not trying to be gender biased here, but most guys will probably want to choose the regular ramp test, or for those that want a challenge. I'll be choosing this particular version, which is the original version. And then for those that may not be very experienced, I would suggest to choose the ramp test light. They're both painful. You'll be going through lots of pain, at least for 20 minutes. So anticipate that 20 minutes of your cycling workout is going to be very painful, especially as we start to get into the hard red part of it here. And the idea is that you want to make sure that you're able to sustain that exact wattage for as long as possible. So in this case, for the traditional ramp test, it goes up at intervals of 20 watts progressively, and it will get progressively harder, and the difficulty will ramp up very quickly in 1 minute increments. And you'll really need to start to dig, especially when you start hitting where you think your FTP power is and going into your VO2 max. Keep pedaling until you just can't go further, and the test will automatically end and it will shift to a cooldown. So don't worry so much about the length and duration and trying to hit all these numbers. The intent of the test and how Zwift has it programmed in is to make sure that you basically pedal until you max out at a particular wattage. You'll hold that wattage for as long as you possibly can until basically your legs fall off of you. And then Zwift will automatically detect where you've peaked out and then will automatically drop to a cooldown. So don't worry, again, do not worry about trying to hit some of these higher numbers, or for those that are in the light, do not worry about trying to hit some of these higher numbers here, because some point around the middle of this set, if you're, depending on where you are from a fitness standpoint, your legs are going to fall off, and that's a-okay, and that's the intent of this test. Another thing to think about is to keep track of where your heart rate is. And what I mean by this is this will help tell you where your maximum heart rate is. So when you get to that peak, you will see that your heart rate will start to plateau at around a maximum. And this is probably where you're going anaerobic. So this is a very good indicator to tell you where is your max heart rate for the bike. And then you could scale your zone training or your zone heart rates from there. With that, I hope this helps to finding out where this ramp test is and the intention of this ramp test, and where this can help you with your workouts and with your training. Sometimes there are some pro athletes that will do ramp tests just for the sake of getting that burn. These provide a really good workout even if you don't get the most optimum numbers. So don't, again, worry too much about the FTP of what Zwift will get you, because every FTP test is different. And it's just more or less to give you a figure, are you in the right place from where you want to train into your FTP? Is your FTP too low? Is your FTP too high? Etc. And this is just to give a reality check of, all right, how much fitness am I really gaining here? Ideally, you want to do these tests rested, but I know some folks here that are following me on this channel probably are not fully rested when doing this. I will not be fully rested when doing this, so I'm doing this more or less to have the fun of it, at least for the session that we have on January 12th, 2021. That stated, in summary, to go back to where we find this workout. So again, go to your menu button, go to workouts, go into the FTP tests ribbon, and go and select the ramp test or the ramp test light. They both do the same exact thing. One just scales up a little bit differently depending on where you think your FTP is, and we will go from there. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And with that, if you like the content of this video, feel free to give this video a like. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button on my channel. And of course, click on the bell notification to get any notifications for any new content or videos that I go and produce. I'll try to post videos at least once a week here. And with these videos relating to the weekly Zwift workouts that I go and post, I will give an explanation to the objective of the workout, what to look for, what are some of the intentions, what are details to really pay attention to, and to provide an overall better experience for those that are looking for some training. With that, that's all I have for this video. See you all in the next one.